And welcome to the new moon for December. This is actually the new moon for the beginning of the year, really, and the beginning of the next eclipse cycle because we just had the winter solstice. So this is the next eclipse cycle until I believe it's June sometime. So the intentions for this new moon can be very extensive depending on however you want to look at it. I go month by month because stuff changes, and as much as my warrior loves to plan like a whole year at advance, um, I know that things change and that I can get attached to expectations and what things look like. So I like to do 1 month at a time, and you're welcome to plan for the next 6 months, for the next year, whatever feels good for you. But today we're also going to do a visualization. It's called the Creation Meditation, I believe. And it comes from Danielle Laporte, even though she claims she did not come up with it. There's a mentor that gave it to her that didn't want to be named but wanted it out there. So we're going to get it out there. So in the next hour-ish, we're going to go through some grounding exercises. We're going to do a little check-in. We're welcome to do that via chat, although if somebody wants to speak, we can also unmute. And I will stop the recording for that because I feel that confidentiality is hard if you're not sure who's going to be watching it. So I will stop it for that, but just let me know in the chat if you want to ask a question or speak, if you're joining us live. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to email me at any time and let's have a chat if you have questions. So let me go through my little list here. So let me know where you're from if you're on here live. I'm really excited to have you here. We're recording this on Christmas night. So I know that a lot of people are out with friends and they're going to be watching this tomorrow, and that's perfectly okay. I think the new moon went from last night till actually tomorrow night. So, you know, the intention there is great. Los Angeles, awesome. I know Adrian is from here around Phoenix, I believe Glendale. So we're going to try to do this in like an hour-ish. Like I said, yeah, Glendale, that's what I thought. So if you have any questions, like again, you can put that in the chat. I can see everybody can use it. So that's fantastic. And I'm happy to unmute you and stop the recording or pause the recording in order for that to happen. We are going to talk about God and spirit. It's hard to do that with a spiritual thing without mentioning some type of higher connection. Feel free to put in whatever fits for you, if that's universe, your archangels, your whatever mentors, spiritual connection that you use. Feel free to just hear that instead. This is a place of safety, so those people who will be sharing, of course, I will be pausing the recording so that they can share just amongst the people who are on live, and everybody else is welcome to share later on the page where the replay will be. So we're going to talk about the focus of this moon. We're going to have a short visualization, and then we're going to craft intentions and say goodbye with some blessings. So it's a pretty simple circle. We do similar things each time, although the actual things kind of change. So what we're going to do now is just kind of soften ourselves and bring ourselves back into our body. So we may have been out in the world talking to a lot of family or friends or doing all of that stuff, all of our holiday busyness. And so we're going to come back into our body. So I invite you to close your eyes or just soften them on an object across the room from you, that's pleasant to look at, and just soften them, whatever's more comfortable for you. And I invite you to put your hands on your heart and just breathe. And just notice your breath, your natural breath, as your heart lifts and drops. And then take a big breath in and feel your heart space expanding. And breathe into your heart. Breathe out of your heart. And allow your breath soften your body and come into this moment. As you take another big breath and expand your heart, when you exhale, you're going to exhale your worries, anything you were thinking of before we met here tonight. And just feel your breath expanding your heart space. And now imagine in your heart space a light pink color just swirling through your heart. And then a milky, opaque white swirling with it. And lastly, a glittering gold, just swirling with the white and the pink. And take a breath as you breathe into this space of colors. The cotton candy pink, the opaque white, and the shimmering gold. These are the colors of the vibration of an open heart. And one more time, just breathe into your heart space and fill it all the way up. Hold on for just a moment and then let it go. And come back to your regular breathing. And I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to ask your heart for the answer. So ask your heart, how do I want to feel? And allow whatever answer comes up to come up without judgment. And take a breath and breathe that feeling into your heart. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room and my voice and this connection, and you can open your eyes. So for anybody that's here live, I'd be really interested in hearing how you want to feel, and you don't have to share that if you don't want to. That's all up to you. But hopefully that kind of softened your body a little bit and brought you in here. And now something I like to talk about that I would do in person is we would now build an altar. And the reason this is important to me is that altars go with ritual, and to me ritual is what makes things, like, gives it the sacred stamp of approval. And by this I mean we can start lots of habits, but habits are different than ritual. Ritual to me is really honoring things. Oh, I love those feelings that came up. That's beautiful. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Oh, I love those. I'm feeling very much my lover today, which is very odd for me. I'm usually in my warrior, so this is fantastic. It's fantastic to have this on a holiday. But altars and ritual, I think that they're really important. It's one way that we really solidify to ourselves why we're doing something and that it's truly still important to us. And that's why I like to open with how I want to feel, is because that's an intention. When we say, how do I want to feel? Oh, this is how I want to feel. I want to feel vibrant or peaceful or kind. Absolutely. Then we have to do things in order to do that. And for me, ritual is a thing that helps me remind myself that this is what's a priority for me. This is how I ground and connect to myself. And I do that through ritual. And ritual could be anything. You don't have to come up with a whole structured thing. It could just be walking. I have a friend who she says that everybody should be a celebrant. Lynn Trotta, if you want to know about nature-based coaching, she's the woman. And she's like, a ritual is me walking to start my coffee in the morning, and with each step just going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, as she walks to the kitchen. So it doesn't have to be a huge, like lighting the candles and prayer and meditation and, you know, reading things. Like it can be whatever you make of it, as long as it reminds you of its importance. So I build my own altar. That's my altar back there with my table. I do change it each new moon, which I haven't done yet because it's Christmas and I'm going to do it tomorrow. However, I do shift it. So as I create my intention, I shift what's on my altar to represent that, to say, right now, this is what I'm focused on. It doesn't mean, I probably still keep my family photos up there because they're still of utmost importance to me. But this is the purpose of ritual. And even though online it's a little harder to do some of the ritualistic parts, I do want you to know that I do think that it's important. I have certain candles that I burn for certain things, whether that's creating intentions or creating courage, whatever it is that I need. And you don't need special things. It could just be those things that you have around. You know, often I will put a necklace that someone gave me as an intention to mean that I'm thinking about them or that I want to be in connection with more people. Whatever it is, the intention that I bring to it, that's what's important. So in your notebook, you might want to just put forth, if you know right now, what is it that you intend to learn out of just today's ceremony and circle? So you can write that down in your journal if you already know some intentions that you have for the next month, or you want to do some intentions around those feelings that you just had in the grounding. Whatever intentions, I love to write those down and put them on my altar. And then at the end of the month, during the month, I'm all about truth. I really stand by truth more than anything else. And so I believe that when we have a new intention, the best way to really honor that intention is that when it shows up, we record that so that we're feeding ourselves new truths. So let me see if I can come up with an example. So if my intention is to be more trusting, and even though my core wound is that, you know, people are untrustworthy, that's a story I tell myself, but I really want to be more trusting of people. During the month, I will write down each time that somebody proved to be pretty trustworthy to me to reinforce that I can be trusting, that people are worth trusting, that I can take care of myself and be safe when trusting other people. So hopefully that makes sense. So whatever your intentions are, that's what we kind of want to bring to the circle. And with that, we also want to look, the way that we move forward is not by ignoring the past, obviously, and what's happened. So each new moon, I also want to give us an opportunity to look at the past. So whether you made resolutions last year, since we're at this interesting new moon cusp of the eclipse, it could be the last year, the last 6 months, or the last month. So what was it, what is it that you intended for this past section of time? Again, it could be a month, it could be 6 months or a year. And so what I like to do during these new moons is just to take a couple of minutes to look back at that time period as an observer. We don't want to necessarily get stuck in the emotional mire of what might have happened, whether that's great or not so great, not uncomfortable, let's say. But we do want to just notice, you know, what have I celebrated this year or this month? What intentions did I have? Did I really follow through on those? Did I find ways to make those priorities? And just reflect on it, like I said, as an observer, not getting emotionally stuck in it, just as data. So I'm going to give people who are live just 2 or 3 minutes to hopefully just think about those things. If you're at home, you can, of course, just pause this. I'm watching the replay. You can just pause this and come back to it when you have those. But I really want us to kind of release these before we move forward, because we want to kind of clean our slate. So think of what's worked, what hasn't worked, what came up, what got interrupted. What is it that you want to clean or release? It might be something that you intended and then learned that it wasn't going to serve you. So why should you bother continuing on that goal or that path? So just take a couple of minutes. I'm going to pause the recording so that the recording doesn't have to take all the time. Okay, so we're back from talking about our intentions and writing them down. And then I just want to talk a little bit about this moon. So as I said, this new moon is the beginning new moon. Although our calendar year hasn't started with January 1st yet, this is the astrological basic beginning of the year, is when our fresh moon comes. So this is the mark of the winter solstice. It's also, like I said, the new moon of the year, this whole eclipse cycle. And so it's all about new beginnings. And I love new beginnings. I can go crazy, like I said before, in my warrior state, just making plans. I love a plan. And I've always come from this worldly mindset in the past. That was like, how do I solve the problem, right? There's always the problem. So how do I solve that problem? What do I need to solve this problem? And what I found was with, I'm a desire map facilitator. So what I found with the desire map was, instead of solving a problem, what do I actually want? Now, those are two completely different things. What do I actually want and what do I actually need? And so often we get stuck in the what do I need, that we never get to the what do I want. And sometimes that what do I want could actually solve the things that I need. So if that makes any sense. So what I truly want us to do tonight is stop thinking about what is it that I need right now, right? Like it's so tempting because we might have, we might want to be changing our job. We might want to be changing some relationships that we have. And I'm not saying that you can't change them. What I'm saying is that we want to come from a space of thriving rather than surviving. What we need usually is equal to surviving, right? I need this in order to live. What I want often feels selfish, overindulgent. It can feel uncomfortable for those of us who are told that we are always to be giving to other people. So they're two different ends. And I wrote a book called Inviting Shift. And in this book, I talk a lot about scarcity and abundance. And there's two different mindsets about scarcity and abundance. Obviously, there's one that, there's not going to be enough. There's this fear behind it. And abundance comes more from a love, right? Because you have enough, you're not worried, less fear. You can come from love. Now, that doesn't always coincide. There's millionaires who live in fear all the time and live in that stressful scarcity mindset. It's more of a mindset, not necessarily of a financial gain. So it doesn't matter if you're poor or wealthy, you can have that positive mindset. And we know this because there's a lot of allegories out there about it. It's really how we perceive what our life is like. So I want us to drop whatever happens. And so with this visualization, this creation space meditation, it's really fantastic because it helps us kind of drop all of our current circumstance and step into a different space. I'm just reading my notes to make sure I covered everything, even if I babbled it. Yeah, so we're going to do this creation space meditation. So again, you're welcome to close your eyes. I invite you to close your eyes on this one because it's a little bit longer. But we're not quite there. I'm going to just talk a little bit about it first because I think that it's important. So the idea of meditation. So meditation for me can be quite a struggle. Quiet and be still for a long time. Some people do it really well. I am not one. So I really love these like visualizations. I always have to like pick something. And what I love about it is that it, again, it gives my mind something to do. And I can see things from a different perspective. So often I am like this. I am just zoned in on one project, and I love that. I love being, blocked in and just focused. And when I do that for too long, I can lose the horizon. I can lose the big picture. And when we do that, we can easily become depressed when that one area is not perfect. We can become perfectionists when that one area isn't perfect. So this really is about relaxing your nervous system, taking it out into a different space. And psychologically, this meditation is to really relax your central nervous system. So if you're watching the replay or playing it on your iPhone, don't do this while you're driving, please. Save this for a different time because I don't want you to get too relaxed while you're driving. And then it's also, I talk a lot about the feminine divine energy. This is really feminine divine energy. Anytime that we're talking about our spirituality, our intuition, our feelings, this is a feminine space that we're stepping into. So basically how this works is we're going to have a visualization and a meditation. It's a little bit of both. And then in there's going to be some mantras, and you're muted so you can say them out loud to yourself if you're on live, or you can, just repeat them in your brain. And often we think of mantras as like Sanskrit. We don't understand what they're saying. And again, it's all about intentions. The way I use mantras, any word in the universe or non-word could be a mantra. The idea is that you're repeating it and bringing it into your body space, your aura, your heart space, and bringing it into your intentions. And the more times that we repeat something to ourselves and to our brain hears it every time, and it starts believing it. So mantras can be anything. They can be frequencies, colors, they can be feelings, whatever works for you. And this creation space meditation, I'm going to give you a few words that are going to help with the meditation. So you can choose any of those words, all of those words, try them all, and see what fits. We're going to do an invocation, which again, I'm going to invite God in. Again, you can invite anyone in, any of your spiritual mentors, angels, universe, divine feminine, divine masculine, whatever works for you. Invite in whoever it is that you connect with on a higher level. So for this, the best is to be sitting. So that's great if you're sitting. You can be cross-legged or your feet on the ground, whatever works for you. We're going to start, I believe, with our hands on our heart, but then we're going to drop them. So you should be very comfortable. Okay. Receiving trust. Okay. I just want to make sure I gave you all this stuff. So to start, we're going to be sitting comfortably. Close your eyes completely, and you can do that now. And then you're going to gently tap on your crown chakra, so right on the top of your head. Just tap. And then your heart chakra, just the center of your upper chest. And just do that a few times each. We're just going to stimulate those chakras. Open up the energy. We're going to put both of our hands over our heart. And we're going to take 3 or so big breaths in your nose. We're going to come into the present moment and focus our consciousness inward. Our breath is stable, gentle, and effortless. And then call in your higher power. I call on God, oh dear God, or thank you, angels. With the help of my higher self, I hereby invoke for divine light, divine love, and divine power. Bless me abundantly with wisdom, strength, and courage to find balance, alignment, and the deepest healing on all levels of my energy bodies. Thank you, in full faith, so be it, and so it is. Now you can put your hands on your knees with your palms down. Imagine you are now entering a beautiful rainforest. It's lush and full. The rainforest is a luminous range of vivid green hues. You're seeing shimmering emeralds, verdant cranes, hints of lime. The atmosphere is warm and soft. The air strengthens your lungs and clears your mind with every easy, effortless breath you take. You can hear the flowing waterfalls and streams. The water pools are bioluminescent. You find a place to rest. You're completely relaxed and entirely receptive. You hear the sounds of branches bending and the wind streaming through the leaves. Some of the trees are plentiful with fruit. Some have spectacular flowers. In this sacred expanse, all elements are nourishing and brimming with life energy. Everything here has healing properties. Everything is lit from within. It's all glowing. This is the manifestation of the divine feminine wisdom. Your body is aware of the warm wind and sweet humidity. Your face, skin, whole body drinks in the dewy moisture of that air. Your sensory body is reveling in this nourishment. All that you experience here is alive and overflowing with lush creativity. You can feel life pulsating. You are absorbing the nourishment. You are being warmed by the nectar of creation. It's magnificent, so magnificent, you relish it and drink it in. Feel the sounds. Feel the warmth. Feel the sense. Your whole body is breathing in this life energy. Feel all of this reaching the very deepest part of your being. Now you bring your attention to the top of your head and you feel the downpour of vitalizing and nourishing energy entering your crown chakra and easily flowing all the way down your spine. Soak it in and bask in this beautiful space and energy. Soak it all up. Being immersed in the green and luminous creation space, begin to tune into the feeling of the following words of power. Silently or out loud or as a chant, say the following mantra words. Say each word with your most sacred intention, your whole heart, feeling each word sacredly, deeply, on a cellular level. The first word is sacred. So repeat that to yourself until you can really feel what sacred means to you. The next word is expansive. What does it feel to feel expansive? Nurturing. What does it feel to be nurturing? All inclusive. How does it feel to be all inclusive? Glowing. How does it feel to feel glowing? The next words, wisdom ever present. How would it feel to have wisdom ever present? Self-sustaining. What does self-sustaining feel like? And the last one is all-knowing. What would it feel like to be all-knowing? So now we're going to move into a declaration. So keep a soft focus on the space between your eyebrows and prepare to offer a declaration, which I'm going to give you with the deepest reverence, either silently out loud or as a chant. The more you create resonance with these words, the deeper and vaster your connection will be to all that you are, your total beingness. Here's what these words symbolize. We're going to talk about a temple. It's a symbolic form that your energy takes, so our physical. The altar is symbolic of the offering, our offering to life, the giving up, or the forgiving. The term prayer symbolizes your deepest essence, and the practice is your devotion to the truth. So the declaration says, I am the temple, I am the altar, I am the prayer, I am the practice. So you're saying that you are the form, you are the giving, you are your deepest essence, and you are your devotion to the truth. I am the temple. I am the altar. I am the prayer. I am the practice. So I'm going to repeat that a few times. You can do it for yourself, internally, externally, but just so we kind of have it. I am the temple. I am the altar. I am the prayer. I am the practice. I am the temple. I am the altar. I am the prayer. I am the practice. I am the temple. I am the altar. I am the prayer. I am the practice. And that is the end. So whenever you are comfortable, take a few breaths and come back to the room that you're in and to my voice. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. So, things to journal now, and I'm going to pause this in a minute just for our live attendees, but for those of you watching the replay, what I'd really like you to just make note of is what feelings came up for you during the meditation, what images came up for you, and if anything shifted for you. Sometimes there's some emotional breakthroughs or just even like I said, coming from a different perspective, it can open up some vision you didn't have before. So I'm going to pause this. If you're watching the replay, I do suggest that right now you pause this and just make some of those notes, because we know by the time we close, we can lose some of that, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to pause the recording. You pause too to finish this. All right, so we just wrote down all of our notes from the meditation. And so before we go into some intentions and some commitments to ourselves, I mentioned before that I'm a facilitator of the Desire Map, and I really believe it's at the core of any other kind of work. So much more so that I'm a life coach, and I force all of my clients to go through the Desire Map before I will actually coach them. And so that's because I believe that the process goes like this: feelings, intention, and action. That's the way that it works best for me. Somebody asked me the other day in one of my classes, well, how do you get yourself to do things you don't, necessarily want to do, like cutting out sugar and stuff? And it's about our feelings, our intention, and our action. So often we go straight to the action. I'm just going to cut out the sugar. I'm going to change all of my recipes to be, no sugar recipes. But we haven't connected with our feeling or our intention first. And once in a while we get the intention, right? Because lately in the last 5 years, the big thing has been, you need to know your why. And when you get to your why, I want you to go deeper, and under that why, there's a feeling. And that's basically the gist of the Desire Map. So often in the world, okay, so let's take the sugar example. The cutting out sugar, that's the action. So we kind of work backwards. And what's the intention? The intention is, I want to be healthier, or maybe I want to lose weight, and I heard that cutting out sugar would help me, or I want to have more energy, whatever that why is. That's kind of our intention. The intention is that this is what I want to do, and then this is how I'm going to do it. But I say go even deeper, because if we can get to, why is it that I want to lose weight? Why is it that I want more energy? There's usually a feeling underneath. And the reason the feeling is so important is because we connect to feelings so much more than actual logical reasons, right? So whatever our stories are in our brain that's telling us why we're doing that, that's not as moving to human beings as what's in our heart. So if we can get to that feeling, like, wow, I just want to feel free. Maybe that's the feeling underneath it, right? I want to have all the energy, so I'm free to do whatever it is I want. So that freeing, right? Me connecting with freeing is going to help me cut sugar out more than me connecting with, I just want more energy. I mean, if I said that, well, in the moment, sugar helps me with energy, right? So I could easily start convincing myself that, oh, if I just had a little bit of sugar, I'd have a little bit more energy. And, but instead, if I say I want to be free, oh, right, sugar doesn't make me feel free, because I'm going to feel like I'm crashing later. So hopefully this is making sense. And this is the gist of the Desire Map. So I really run our New Moon circles around what it is that we really want to feel. So after this meditation, after our softening, I'd really like you to write down just a few words of how you want to feel. You can change these later if you want to contemplate on them more. Or if you're watching the replay, you can pause this and take as much time as you like. But right now, just come up with 2 to 5 feelings that you might want, whether that's for the next month, the next 6 months, or the next year. Again, I want to just go back to this piece about want versus need. We might know that there's something hard coming up this year, and we might go, oh, I'm just going to need so much courage and strength. And that is cool. You can definitely choose that as one of your words. However, I also want us to go deeper and find the word that lights us up. It doesn't have to be a feeling word. Sometimes it's a phrase. One of the women that I know, her core desired feeling is kind of a big deal, so that she can kind of confidently fluff herself up while knowing that she's kind of taking it lightheartedly as well. One that I just heard the other day was thirsty. She wants to remain curious and thirsty for life. Wouldn't work for me. Hangry, it's too close to hungry, and I don't like to feel hungry, but for some people, these are the words that light them up. So you want to come up with words. Like, I loved some of the ones that you came up with after the softening exercise, people who are alive. You want them to light you up. Not like I had a woman who came up with contented, and I was like, oh no, we need to talk about this. Because to me, contented is more like, I've been surviving. That's not how we want to feel. That's what we're willing to settle for. So we don't want to go for what we're willing to settle for. We're going for over the top, what lights us up when we think of that feeling, what feelings we really truly connect with. And maybe there's some of the ones from the mantra. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now so that you can think. And just take a moment or two to come up with a few words of your intentional feelings for the next cycle, whatever that is for you. And again, I'm not gonna, give you all the time or expect that you're gonna have it all perfect by the time we're done with this call. But that is why I give you 2 hours in the call, so that even if you're here live, you know that you have that extra space afterwards to finish this up, and really be clear for yourself about what it is that you want to move forward on. So with those feelings, of course, I said feelings, intentions, actions, right? So our intention is those feelings. And so we need to come up with actions. And there's 2 types of actions that I encourage people to take. One is actually, doing the things that are going to help you feel that way. But the first that I suggest is that, how are you going to remember that you are focusing on this intention? Because often that's the thing that goes first is, oh, I forgot I was doing that thing, or I forgot I was focused on that thing. So the first actions that I want you to write down is, how are you going to remember this every day, that these are your intentions? So this could be, and often is for me, I set several reminders a day in my phone so that maybe 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m., I'm reminded to think about what my intention is. And just check in with myself, oh, how did the last few hours go? Did I bring that intention into my life, or did I miss opportunities to bring that intention in? Another way is, of course, write it on your bathroom mirror, put Post-its up at your desk or in your car. However it is that you remind yourself, put it in your calendar. Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys do that? Yeah, Debbie, I read that. So however it is that you can remind yourself. I have, of course, the Desire Map Planner. So every day I'm asked to look at what my core desired feelings are and how I'm going to bring them to fruition. And I track that because it makes a difference. Just like I was telling you earlier with the altar building, our new truths are essential, like reinforcing those new truths or our intentional feelings is important. So every time, if my word is confident, every time I felt confident, I'll write that down. I'll be like, yeah, today was a good day on confidence because this, and this happened. When I was confident, I got these great things happened. I can reinforce that truth that those feelings are actually within me. And of course, the more that we look for them, the more that we're going to find them, just like anything else in our life, fortunately or unfortunately. So so the first part is how we're going to remember to make this our intention. And the second part is, now that this is your intention, what are you going to do with it? So for me, my core desired feelings that I use, that I'm about to redo this weekend, are connection, compassion, magic, and flow. And so some of the ways that I bring, let's see, some of the ways I bring connection into my life is I say, okay, well, once a week I talk to a woman, to my bestest friend from the East Coast that I miss greatly. I talk to her once a week. I also talk to other friends. We have scheduled dates once a month to meet just like this on Zoom because we're far away. And so that's how I stay connected. Those are the actions I take to reinforce my connection feeling. Magic, I tend to come up with ridiculous projects and then finish them, and I feel like they're magic. So often that's what will happen is what makes me feel like magic. Painting makes me feel like magic. So I come up with things that will help me get those feelings going. Of course, we want to build those huge goals, and maybe this is the time of year for you to do that. If so, I say that the desire map parts 1 and 2 is probably for you. But say we want a big goal, we do want to feel that way. That's what all of our big goals really are, right? Our vision boards is that we're saying that we want to feel how we think we're going to feel when we have this thing. And so the desire map goes one step further and says, okay, well, how do you want to feel? And then don't wait until you get there. So often, I don't know if you've done this, my mom used to tell me, you'll be happy when you graduate college. You'll be happy when you get a job. You'll be happy when you get a promotion. So it was like, I felt I had to sacrifice my happiness right now so that I could be happy later. And then what happened is I did get a good job and I even got a promotion. I was like, okay, but I'm still not happy. Now what? So I had sacrificed and worked so hard to get to that happy point, and I wasn't happy when I was there. So the desire map really talks about how can we do everyday actions that we can bring those feelings in now so that we're not waiting to feel that when we get the big goals. It's great when we feel it when we get the big goals, but we shouldn't have to sacrifice that every day. So you want to come up with these actions that will help bring those feelings into your life, that your choices are in alignment with those feelings. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. And if you have questions about that, feel free. So those are the 2 buckets that I would come up with for now is what actions are you going to do to remind yourself that you're going to be focused on these intentions, and then what are you going to be doing with those intentions to bring those feelings into your life, to kind of shove them in, like I sometimes feel like magic when I'm dancing with my dog in the kitchen. I mean, that feels like magic and flow to me. So whatever works for you, just make up some of those actions. And I invite you to do that tonight right after this call so that you can keep it right fresh on mind. Awesome. Cool. And then all I have really is closing of the altar. So intentions, do you mean the feelings we desire? Exactly. So our feelings are going to be those intentions. So there's a question to clarify if intentions also meant feelings we desire. In the desire map, our feelings are our intentions. That's how we're intending to feel. Most of the time, or at least how we want to feel most of the time. Sometimes we're not in clear alignment with that. And one example that I can come up with is I used to say all the time how I wanted to have stronger connections to family, and yet in the moment, if work came up, work got the yes, and family got pushed aside. So that wasn't in alignment, right? I wasn't feeling like I was being nurturing or I was really connecting. And that's where I had to see that was not in alignment. So we just want to make sure that the choices that we're making every day are truly in alignment for if that's how we say we want to feel, why aren't we feeling that way? And usually it's because we're sabotaging ourselves for making choices against that feeling throughout it could be little things too that people don't think about, what you have for breakfast, where you have breakfast, who you eat breakfast with. Those can all influence how we feel. If we are in this routine of stuff and the rest of our life isn't working, we can shake up the things that we don't think are important, but truly are. Like if my feeling is connection, I can make a breakfast date with a friend and go have breakfast with a friend rather than sitting at home. I also know that my connection and my compassion isn't real high when I'm on a sugar crash. So having a donut for breakfast is not going to bring me my core desired feelings, even though in the moment the donut might sound really, really good. I can think about my core desired feelings and go, yeah, that's not going to make me feel magical later, and say no to it. So that's how we use them. Cool. So what I would do is I'm going to kind of close up the recording, and then I'm going to close up the people who are on live. And so if you're watching the recording, this is where we close the altar. You can blow out your candle. And I love this poem. I just have to end with this poem. I read it last month too, and I might read it every month because I love Rumi. And this poem is by him about the new moon. So love the new moon grows slowly, stage by stage. We should progress like that, deliberately, with patience. I hear the new moon whispering, impatient fool. It is only step by step you climb the roof. Be a seasoned cook. Let the pot boil little by little. A stew cooked in mad haste tastes terrible. So I love that. So I'm going to stop the recording now so we can all chat. Cool.